I was praising the Lord. Praising the
Oh,
Lord.
snap.
That's what I was thinking. I thought we were about to get into it
Oh,
freestyle.
snap. Are we good? All right. How's the new phone thing working out? All right, sweet. That's good.
Sick.
Let me just turn this down. Okay, welcome to Pewology. This is another episode where the people in the pews get to weigh in, do all the talking. Sometimes this is spiritual, sometimes it's relational, sometimes it is political. Those are never good.
Therapeutic.
Sometimes it's sexual. Sometimes it is emotional. It just depends on what we talk. We cover a lot of ground. Tonight with me, two young bucks that sit in the pews every week. A couple of young dads, young husbands, young guys trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Honor the Lord. Walking with the Lord. Justin and my buddy Jeremiah here tonight. You guys, I think Jeremiah first time?
Yeah, first time for me.
Okay.
100%.
And Justin's back again by popular demand. So he's they're back.
We had
in
my
action.
wife request that I get back on the podcast. That was the only person.
We haven't posted the last one yet. I think that
Yeah.
goes out tomorrow. So that'll be interesting to see how she digests that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys ever struggle like watching yourself back on video?
I never watch it again.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
You're not supposed to.
I never watched it.
Really?
Yeah, that's the devil's work.
Oh,
Come on, that's idolization.
Lord.
Oh, my
Come
goodness.
on,
Here
man.
we
I mean,
go.
little critiques here and there, you know? You gotta shine it up.
Idolization.
Come on. I don't even know if that's a word,
That's
brother.
a new application. I know that. That's good.
Let's do a little background before we get started. How long you been coming to the church?
I think I'm coming up on 4 years here
Okay.
at the church. I can't really remember the exact date.
What brought you here?
Okay. So me and my wife both went to school with Daniel.
Gotcha.
We both went to school with Daniel. My wife passed by and seen the church and thought it was cute. She was like, the Vine Church. It had the vines on the outside.
It is so
And it's cute. This is a cute church. A lot of cute people. And she
Yeah.
was like, passed by, seen the church.
Cute
thought it was-
pastor.
The pastor's all right.
Okay.
The pastor's all right. We like
Is
him.
that a little too?
We like him.
Towing the line.
yeah. We called him handsome. We
Yeah.
were doing pastor appreciation. He's handsome.
Appreciate that.
He's handsome. But yeah, I mean, I think she liked the church. She thought it was a cute church. She was like, we know Daniel. Let's go show up. I guess she actually used to be a part of Daniel's like prayer group in the high school back in Poinciana High School.
Okay.
So yeah, that ended up bringing us here, and her mom as well, and we've just been coming ever since.
Nice.
We seen that handsome pastor on the stage, and we were like, we're not leaving now.
Dang, look at that handsome guy.
Yeah, we're not leaving now.
How
Doing the
about you?
Lord's
How long you
work.
been coming to the church?
I would say about 7 months now.
But your background is that you were raised in church.
Yeah, this
Dad's
is
a
true.
pastor, raised in church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't always live in this area, but I was born here.
Yeah.
My dad initially had a church like right down the road from where
Well,
the
that's right.
Vine
I
is.
forgot that part of the story.
Yeah. So we were really nearby. I just never, came here in my childhood. Then we moved away to church plant in Pensacola.
Mm.
And
Is the church that he was a part of still here?
No.
Okay, that's
yeah,
right. You're telling me that.
Yeah, they ended up
kind of
splitting
phased
up
out
and
or whatever.
A lot of other stuff happened after new leadership took over, but
Dude, churches are crazy, right?
they are the wildest thing.
Yeah. Have you lived through a lot of that craziness?
100%.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean,
See, he's had nothing but peace because we don't usually have.
Oh man.
No, I'm serious. We don't have a tremendous amount of drama here.
Oh, you're saying at this church?
Yeah,
At this
This church,
the
phenomenal.
politics-
He's
the
right.
politics
He's,
get
I thought you were
crazy.
saying in
We
my
don't-
life piece. I was like, I've been terrorized.
In fact, when drama does happen here, it's
Yeah.
almost so shocking that everybody's like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah.
Because
tell
we
you-
don't have a lot.
I'll tell you
yeah.
what. In the 4 years I've been here, almost 4 years I've been here, I've never heard anything.
Yeah.
There's never been
awesome.
drama. Like there's never been drama. I mean, part of it. I mean, I know me and my wife kind of stayed out of really being too involved in the church. Not in a. I don't know if that's a bad. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
We
but you know
stayed
there's
not
not a
too
lot of drama
involved.
when
Yeah.
there's not like splits and,
Yeah.
we got taking this half
Yeah.
of the congregation over
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a
here.
good point.
like that stuff
I guess
is,
I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
either,
It's
though. Yeah.
much more common than you think it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's stuff like that, and then there's always like debates about finances and where things should be allocated and direction and like
Yeah.
like people, especially in larger groups where there's like tons of voices in the room, like they just kind of forget what they're there for,
Yeah.
and you just kind of don't get along at the end of the day.
Oh gosh, I know. It's crazy.
But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Similar to him though. We used to visit Central Florida to visit family. Even after I left, I met my wife up there, and every time we would come down to visit family, we'd drive past the Vine. Even before we lived here, my wife was like, "Gosh darn it, that is a cute church." You know what I mean? She saw the leaves, and she was like,
That's
"Man,
funny.
that is cool." And then when we moved to Point Siena, we started church hopping and
Right.
just couldn't find anything. She was like, "Well, how far is that cute church?" And I was like, "I don't know."
You
And
know what?
we stuck.
Your wife and my wife are two like tism
peas in a pod right there,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's like scarily similar. No,
yeah.
That's good.
100%. No, it's
Yeah.
cool.
I like it. It's great to hear him.
Yeah, it's really
We got to
awesome.
really keep that like Vine theme, like
Mhm.
architectural design theme when we go to the new building. Put
Oh,
up some
yeah.
vines
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think so.
Let's do
You know,
that.
greenery and plants bring women in all day long, dude. All day
Yeah.
long.
The
It's-
greenery.
It's unique,
The
you know,
greenery.
it's cute.
I
It
like
works. It's marketing.
All right, so let's talk about this because we're kind of talking about like I want to talk about this with you guys because you're number one. We've been having a sidebar conversation
Yeah.
just about your personal life that I think
Mhm.
is so interesting, and I think it applies across the board to young married couples too, especially guys that are trying to lead families. Which is okay. You're young, you're married. It is a crazy deal, right? Like you're young and married. Like, how are you?
27.
And you're like 24,
22.
22. Oh my gosh.
Right.
So you're like 22 and 27. You're dumped in charge of people.
That's facts.
Like it's like, hey, I got kids
Yeah.
and a spouse that's depending on me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's true.
And I need to make good decisions here.
Yeah, right.
Something like that, you know what I mean?
The best of
There's
decisions.
a feeling out process
But
there.
but sometimes those decisions can be hard. Like, you know, one of the things they've been facing was the big decision about like, should we move? Should we not move?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And then what happens when you're like on two different pages and like your spouse is like, I really want to move. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't think the Lord's telling us to
Yeah,
move.
yeah,
Or maybe it's just me. Don't
Yeah,
even put it on the
100%.
Lord. I'm not even sure like right now.
Right.
And how do you navigate through that, lead through that?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the
Yeah.
rules to that?
I don't know
Yeah.
if there's rules, but, you know, interestingly enough, that's something that happened really recently with me and my wife. You know, when we were in Pensacola,
Okay.
we didn't necessarily have something set over here. Like there was the potential of a job, but it wasn't guaranteed or anything.
Okay.
Mhm.
But we felt pretty consistently that we were supposed to leave where we were.
Okay.
We
Why
just-
did you feel that way?
We felt that way because we often felt relationships and opportunities that were pretty consistently coming our way were often closing.
Okay.
And where oftentimes we felt like we were in the room where it happened, not through anything dramatic happening or major changes occurring. We felt like a lot of times we were just kind of on the outside of the room. And we just felt like naturally we were like phasing out without necessarily changing anything that we were doing.
Okay.
And so at some point, you know, we just prayed about it, you know, and I know a long time ago I told her I was big on moving. I would love to live all over the world if I could, you know what I mean? Once a year, one a new city. I'm that kind of person.
Brother.
Back it up.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm
But
good
my-
on that.
Yeah,
We're world
for
travelers.
sure.
That's crazy.
But my wife's the kind of individual who was raised in one house, never moved, likes stability at the,
Okay.
you know, the pinnacle of her comfort is that stability.
Yeah.
And so we were curious about this and we just prayed a lot about it. And initially Tampa came up a lot in conversations with people in the church, people that we were friends with. Like
And by coming up, you mean like opportunities and like
there was a mix
ideas?
of, yeah.
Okay.
So like an example of an opportunity would be my brother who works here said there was an opening in Tampa after we had already started conversations about that area. We had no tie to Tampa, no family or anything, but
Yeah.
that's what seemed to stick out. And then we had like an example from someone from the church was they felt like I would get along with a pastor that pastored in Tampa. And it was like, we didn't really get along, but I
Yeah.
met him. And then in the most hilarious, I don't know, like, so I have a friend, right? And my friend was struggling with something personal at that
Okay.
time. And his dad, who I'm close with, felt like I was the only person he really trusted to be like a good influence on him.
Yeah.
And he offered to pay for me and him to just spend a week in Tampa. He was like,
Okay.
just be
Yeah,
around
no.
him, show him that you can be a young man who's Christian and have fun in Christ. Like that was like his
Yeah.
whole pitch.
That's fire.
So it was
That
like
is fire.
all
You're
over
on
a
a
course.
mission to have a good
Dude,
time.
that is
I know,
fire.
right? I
That
was
is
like,
fire.
absolutely, sir. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So over a span of
Yeah.
like 4 weeks, it was just like something that was never relevant from a bunch of parties who didn't know each other. Just constantly came
So
up.
you're kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit. You're kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, we've got all these things coming at us. Tampa's coming up again and again. Maybe it's Tampa.
100%. And the lease that we were in was coming up at that point.
Okay.
So we just kind of sat down with some leaders, and a lot of the leaders we had varying opinions. It's not like they were like, absolutely, that's a call from God. You know,
Yeah.
we had some feedback that we didn't honestly love at times.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when we came together and came in unity about this and prayed about it, we felt like it was the right decision. And I think we would hold true on that decision today. And it did lead to opportunity for work where I am now, and hopefully being positioned for promotion soon and different things like that.
Yeah.
And even if that didn't fall through, though, I think we would.
Did you actually
100%.
go to Tampa for a while?
Yeah, I was in Tampa for a full year.
Okay.
And I realized that's really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% too expensive. And so we ended up slightly maneuvering because my job isn't just one location, it's a territory. So we're like, let's just, instead of being on the far, west side of the territory, let's go to like the north, which is where we settled in Point Siena, which is just right outside my territory.
Gotcha.
And that's why we are here now.
So even in the whole thing, you still kind of digest it and go, okay, we were having all of these kind of open doors. There were doors that were opening. There were suggestions being made. We were open. We were literally saying to each other and to friends, we're listening for God. And if God speaks, we're going to try to be really in tune with whatever open doors he provides.
Yeah.
And then you're actually seeking God and praying, and then you're going, okay, maybe let's be pliable. How was your wife in that whole process?
I know it was intimidating, and it reflected in, she was just more stressed at times with the idea of, moving out of a city that even on a vacation basis, she really never left. So
Gotcha.
She was small town. Like, this is higher population, higher traffic.
This is a lot more.
She doesn't even like crowds. You can't go to Walmart without being in a concert like crowd down here.
Yeah.
So it was a big undertaking.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the timing of the doors closing and others opening simultaneously is kind of what made us genuinely consider it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't think we would have. Maybe it would have been a fun thought.
But how did you feel personally as the husband? Did you feel like you were having to did you feel like you got a lot of buy-in from her from the beginning? Like, did you feel like she was trusting? Did you feel like you had to convince her? Did you feel like you had to cock her into it? Did you feel like you had to drag her? Did you feel like you had to force her? Did you feel like you had to put an ultimatum down at any point?
No, not necessarily. I think we were pretty communicative, and both of us were in a neutral point for a lot of this.
Okay.
And then at some point...
So maybe the starting point of the discussion wasn't adversarial.
Exactly.
Okay, but that makes it easier.
Yeah. It
became
that a little...
Yeah. It became adversarial.
Oh, dang.
Well, because sometimes an idea sounds more attractive in thought than it is in application.
Yeah.
So then once the opportunity for it to actually happen occurred...
And you're driving in Tampa traffic, you're like... And she's like, this is what you wanted?
Right.
Also, with the process of relocation, like, the job that I was going for got pulled. The place that I had rented was too expensive. And because the transition of lease and everything was happening, we lived apart for like 5 weeks.
Oh,
She lived in Pensacola. I lived in an apartment by myself in Tampa. So there was, and we had a newborn. We had a, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So there was
brother.
a lot. Yeah, she is a trooper, but it was not easy.
Yeah.
And that whole year wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But, even in a weird way, some of the connections that we made there, for example, the young adults pastor at the church I ended up attending over there, he is actually friends and originally church members with Daniel here. Fun fact.
Okay.
It's just a lot of interesting
They're
ways
all
that the world,
connected.
it's just such a small place.
Yeah.
And,
Nice.
that's kind of the process of what happened.
I got you. How about now? You've been going through it because
I have.
you started at a completely different place. It was adversarial. It was almost like she wanted one thing, you wanted a different thing. That happens in a marriage.
100%.
And then how did that all go?
I mean, I guess to start it off, I don't think we had ever really considered, even from the moment we started dating, I brought up the fact of I'm a country boy. That's how I grew up. I want to have like a farm or like a plot of land. I want to be,
a farmer.
Yeah, I don't want to take care of nothing. I just
Just watch those chickens.
No, truthfully, I don't mind taking care of nothing. But I want to have land. I want to have animals. I want to have an open area where like our kids can play. We can raise our kids, they could even put houses on the land. We could have,
Oh, dang.
you know,
You
we
wanted a
can grow.
compound.
Yeah, exactly. I just like it. It seemed like a really good idea. I was
Yes.
like, if we both agreed that was an awesome idea, and so that led on to us looking at property in Tennessee, Georgia, here in Florida, looking all over the place. But it was kind of just one of them things where it sparked, I think, for her this curiosity, and also right before my first daughter was born, she became a stay-at-home mom. And I think they gave her plenty of opportunity to start looking. And then I think
So
here recently,
she's home shopping for land every day. You're going
right,
to work.
Exactly.
This is crazy.
Exactly.
A regular
This is
on
crazy.
Zillow.
This is
What
how you
crazy. I mean, there's supposed to be an Amazon. She's on
Listen.
the MLS
Yes.
looking for property.
No, listen, dude. My wife is great. Yeah, exactly, dude. Amazon would have been great, but
Oh my
anyways.
God.
So yeah, she's at home spending plenty of time, and I think we went to Colorado this past February. She has, I think, a cousin that lives in Colorado. She's been to Colorado before. I never had, but we went this past February, and she kind of got even more stuck on the fact of like, I really like this state. I think it's visually beautiful. I think even the people, they're not. I was gonna say something super controversial. She says she thinks they're nice. She thinks they're nicer than here.
I feel like you were gonna make a racial statement.
Dude.
Careful.
Listen, she's a lot less Hispanics is what I think she was going for, dude.
Gosh.
For context, my wife is Puerto Rican and Mexican, dude. I love that woman. I love that woman.
Yeah, it's probably pretty good that you said that. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think people are like,
Just for
cut it out.
context.
Cut it
Yeah,
out.
no. Keep it in. That's what I do. That was
she was like, I need some
Yeah.
honkies in my life.
dude, I don't even think it was the white people. It was even the Spanish people that were over there, they had a different personality, different character.
They low uppity. That's
You know what I'm
some.
saying?
That's
yeah,
some,
that's true too. Now they do.
That's some snaz.
Bougie.
Dude, they
That's
sell.
bougie. That's some bougie Hispanics.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Especially in Colorado Springs. So
Yeah. Oh, dang.
yeah, over there. We stayed actually in Larkspur, which was really nice. It was like a country club, kind of out in the mountains. It was nice. I cannot deny it was nice. It was super cold. Not a fan. I shoveled the snow and ice off the driveway with her brother.
Mhm.
My brother-in-law, she didn't. She didn't feel that pain. She was like, we can do
Yeah.
this every year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So I
sure.
think,
And that, I mean, but it's a tough sell because if you spend a lot of time in Florida, grew up in Florida, all of a sudden you get
Yeah.
exposed to the Rocky Mountains for the first time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to move to the Rocky
Yeah.
Of course, everybody at the Rocky Mountains that grew up there wants to move to the beach.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
you always want what you don't have.
Thank you. And I said
Right.
that same exact thing to her. I said, baby, I think, I respect exactly what she was wanting. And, she wanted to move to Colorado. I'm somebody who, similar to the way you said Kaylee is, your wife is, I don't think after my father died, when she passed away when I was 7, I didn't have a lot of stability. I was moving either every year back between Georgia and Florida, or even when we finally ended up here in Florida, we were still moving every year somewhere in Florida. And so the stability thing, that grew on me. I'm like, look, I finally found a place I feel like I could call home.
Right.
And even as far as like the church goes, like I feel, super confident being here as far as like I don't know how to word it, but spiritually and like my relationship with God.
Let's
has
camp
grown
on
a
that
lot,
for a
but-
second because that's one of the things I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
I think in some of the decision making in your experience, the feeling of being a part of a faith community in a pretty connected way was pretty
Yeah.
important to you.
100%. I've never felt like, okay, so I didn't grow up in the church.
Yeah.
I grew up, my guidance was probably more myself than almost anybody or anybody that would guide me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that leads to a lot of misleading or misguidance and mistakes being made and hard times. And so when I finally get to a place where I am now, where it's like, hey, I'm in a place where there's people that not only care about me and my family, but are willing to pour into you. And that's not really a value you get from just about everybody.
Yeah.
And so I guess me going through what I've gone through, I guess I look at it with like I appreciate it very highly. And so that definitely does keep me around.
I think that's like, I wanted to get your opinion too, because I know you growing up in the church, you probably see it differently. But I think that's an interesting take that I think is okay, I don't want to overstate it.
Yeah, go.
But I think that for most people, I think what they're like when they hear you say that,
Yeah.
and that it was one of your factors, I think,
Mhm.
they think, oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm
right.
saying? But I think the idea it's kind of foreign in our culture that, hey, my church community is such an important thing.
Yeah, 100%.
That I don't take lightly the idea of the number one, what I'm receiving and what I'm committed to in that church community. And that is like, let's say if you were going to say, hey, there's 2 or 3 factors that I'm weighing when it comes to a move. This is one of them. I think for most people, they hear you say that and they're like, that's sweet, but they don't think that.
No, 100% can't relate.
I think they're church members. Most of them are church members. And I don't think they think it. Meaning that they're going to a church and we've reduced church to the thing that like it gives us a little something.
Yeah.
Like we're like, oh, I hope the pastor says something good this week. And I hope I get a little something out of it. But we don't look at church in this experience of like, oh, I'm deeply committed to this community and I'm serving here. My gifts and talents are being used here.
They look at it like good advice rather than a way of life.
Yeah, they look at like a self-help program,
100%,
not as like a community that they're giving into.
Right, building and being built up by.
Right,
100%.
That's
not a relationship.
Yeah,
similar to the way with God. Right, you have a relationship with God. It's something you develop.
I think 99%. I don't want to accuse the audience
Statistics
here.
are off. Don't worry about that.
They might be, but I think most of the people listening to this, if they said, I'm considering a move and I said I'm not going to do it because I felt the leading from the Lord and a commitment to my church community, I honestly think that the amount of people who would say that is so minuscule that they think you're a little crazy.
I am. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And
unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like I've seen so many situations like that.
Do you think you could get to the point where, like even now, do you think you and your wife could get to the point, whether it's the Vine or any place else, where you go, no, we're going to lock in here and we're going to deeply commit here and we're going to build the kingdom of God here and we're not going nowhere?
100%. Right. Yeah. So I would say too, like, you know, you guys were talking about the relationships. That's pivotal. You know, we're not designed to be alone, but not just that. If you can make the time you're spending with other people quality and valuable and something that builds you up while you're also pouring out, like you're checking every box that our soul wants to achieve at once. You know what I mean? Yeah. Serving in that way. And also, like, for example, the relationship I've been able to have with like Justin and my wife and his wife, like, it feels like you're doing life with someone.
Yeah, you start to connect.
You know what I mean?
The relational connection starts to become community.
Literally.
Yeah. And we're a body of Christ. It's community.
100%. Yeah. So when you have that and you achieve that on a regular basis, it's not just like taking in account like, oh, you know, the church when I leave. Like, you don't want to. Like, it's really, really, really hard. Even if you want to be somewhere with a pretty view or whatever it may be that attracts you somewhere.
Right.
It's genuinely difficult to unplug yourself once you're that heavily ingrained.
Yeah.
So
I
like that.
Yeah, the devil can make anything pretty, but I think I think the relationships that I worded that so poorly. But the way I'm trying to word it is basically the devil can make anything look pretty, but when you get down to like the truth behind everything, I think that it speaks for itself and you can't really lie. Like there's certain things you get to a point where you can't lie about, right? Like it may look beautiful to go somewhere else, but like when you get into it and you get there, like after the beauty's all over, right? And you're really actually dealing with the situation, you got to take it for what it is. And it's not always what it looks like, I think.
Well, naturally, everything's better on, you know, a short-term basis when you're on a trip somewhere visiting people. Like, you're not clocking in at 5 a.m. and getting off work and having stress and worrying about church
and it's
hopping.
20 degrees outside.
And, you know, and not even just that context, right? But like in any situation, the things that we're numb to on a day-to-day basis here, you will inevitably become numb to wherever you are.
Yeah.
So it's more, to me, the value comes from your church. And I mean that as in the people of the church and what you're doing, what you're carrying out, you know what I mean? Whether that's serving in the church or serving at a food bank or plugging yourself in to like be a part of the body of Christ.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do that and feel connected and really feel like you're contributing that way, like that's what matters. It doesn't matter where you do it.
I was going to say, actually, I if I could be vulnerable here for a moment.
But this is interesting, right? Like, I don't think it does matter where you do it. I think it's important to have a faith community. But I do think it's interesting what he's saying, which is that once you find that thing, leaving that is a hard thing to do.
Yes.
Unless you feel really, really released from it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, sometimes like, and unfortunately, but sometimes it takes something like bad or traumatic to even detach you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But if things are fine and dandy and you're growing in your spiritual life, you're learning and you're a part of
Yeah.
all that, like often it's ill-advised to remove yourself from it. You know?
Right.
I think we underestimate the power, the benefit, the special thing that happens in community.
Yeah.
And when we find something like that, it's not always reproducible in the way we have it everywhere else.
Right. And a quality community at that. Not just any community, because you can get into any community, but quality community, one that, like we've been speaking on, has some, some
even-
fruit to
I'll say
it.
it this way. Like, so when we hire people at the school or the church, we kind of grade it, or we go through a hiring process, and we always use 3 metrics. Okay. We call it the 3 C's. So we do competency. Okay. Hey, are they competent to do the
Mhm.
job? Do they have the educational background? Do they have the experience? Are they competent?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And then there's this, the character. It's like, maybe they're competent, but do they share our values?
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
Do they have the character to do the job? Like,
Right.
especially when you're hiring teachers and stuff, it's like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you might be competent, but do you actually share like our classroom values, our
Mhm.
values from education, like our disciplinary? Okay. But the last thing is the one that we always find the hardest. And this may surprise you. One of the metrics is chemistry. It's like, you can have the right competency, you can have the right, character, but do you fit?
Yeah.
Mm.
And that relational thing doesn't always work everywhere. Like, you know how like when you guys have kind of connected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna say that I kind of put them together, like whatever. But I kind of knew like you guys would probably hit it off.
We
You
would
share a lot
never
of,
talk
like,
without Mike. That's a
yeah,
fact.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't want to say that I kind of was like, hey, why don't you guys?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in similar place in life, and there's a certain level of chemistry where you go, oh, we have shared interests, we have shared kind of like values, we have
Mhm.
shared, and it's very easy. It just happens naturally. We can talk. It's simple. I don't have to work at it. I
Yeah.
don't have to be like, oh, he thinks like this, so I'm not going to talk about that. Blah blah. None
Yeah.
of that. Right? That's chemistry.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to work at it. It just works.
yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
And that, when it happens, it's not something that should be ignored. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that happens relationally. That's how you found your wives.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You went,
Yep.
good chemistry. This works.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? We can make all the rest. We can figure out the
Yeah,
rest.
I like this one.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm
This
saying?
one's good.
But that's
It's
like
like-
the hardest thing to achieve.
Right. So when you do achieve it in a community of people that are
Yep.
of faith,
Yep.
it should be something that you go, hey, this is special.
Right, right.
I should
right,
treat
right,
it
right.
like with like a little bit of like, hey, it's kind of like the china set your mom always kept in the closet. It's like, or the cabinet. It's kind of like,
Yeah, yeah.
well, the big cup cup, that does hold water.
Yeah.
But this is a special thing that we give
Yep.
out. We hold out for special things to
Yeah.
build. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's church.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's not much you can really add to that. It's just that
Now that
you have
Right.
to protect that, because when you're talking about replicating it, and we're talking about the situation of like moving, migrating, whatever that may be, like there's a ton of places, but that specific plugin, when we were in Tampa,
Yeah.
we tried so many churches, I can't even count. And it's not that their theology was bad. It's
Yeah.
not that the people were bad. It's not
Right.
that it was too
bad chemistry
far.
fits.
yeah.
The chemistry wasn't
Just
there.
didn't work.
Yeah.
And we had places where we were serving or down
Yeah.
to serve, or
Yeah.
we had conversations with people, but it's just, there wasn't this natural just transition and flow to the relationship.
Yeah.
And you just stagnate.
Yeah.
And then you end up in a situation where you can easily end up isolated again.
You become an
Mhm.
attender. You're not involved.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're consuming information, but you're not really contributing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's one way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's church experiences, they go to a show. They go to
Right.
a big church where it's a show, but they're not really tied in.
Mm-hmm.
And the littlest thing offsets them. The littlest thing. And they're out the door to the next place
This is true.
because they're
Right,
not
right,
really
right.
that deeply connected.
There's no
Yeah,
investment.
yeah. Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think I'm not to say like this is not a setup, by the way, for your poor wife who's listening to this later that somehow
God
she
bless
should be
her
listening
soul.
to this.
Don't make me
I
get in another
just,
argument.
and I'm not saying she doesn't get it because I think she does, right? But
Yeah.
I think because I think she understands the validity of your point. But I think it is a special thing to find the right place.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that the door may not open to
Yeah.
someplace else later,
100%.
Colorado or someplace else.
100%.
But
100%.
how you navigate that with a
Mhm.
spouse is tough, because if your
100%.
spouse is like, I want to move, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you're like,
yep.
oh man, I kind of feel like God's opened the door for us to be
Yeah.
here in some way.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to be in. Where
It's
you're trying
super
to
hard,
navigate.
and I think the way that I've been able to navigate it is, for one, also being in communication with that community that we are just talking about, right? Being in communication with you,
Mhm.
everybody around me that I can go and talk to and get some feedback on. Because if you're just talking to yourself, you become pretty much what is like a
Yeah.
lunatic. You know what I'm saying? You go crazy.
Yeah, you're in an echo chamber.
Exactly.
You hear what you want, say what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
Justin,
so,
what should I do? You should do whatever you want.
do whatever you want. That sounds great. We're gonna do it. Yeah, I'm in.
Another
So,
interesting thing too
Yeah.
is like you perhaps might not be in alignment about that one thing,
Uh-huh.
but man, does it help to be in alignment with almost everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that's just the one thing that you guys are kind of contending on and
Yeah.
thinking about,
Yeah.
like life becomes infinitely easier if it's just that thing. You know what
if
I
you're,
mean?
if you're,
I will
if
say
you're
this.
parenting well,
Yeah.
if
Right.
your sex life as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
if you're like you
Yeah.
generally have a good communication, it's
Right.
a lot easier to
If
have
you're-
like
if
a
you're-
disagreement about one main thing.
Literally,
You're
yeah.
like, okay, we're struggling here, but we're good in a lot of places.
yeah.
Right, if your chemistry as well. If your chemistry as well.
Right, yeah.
It's not so, we're not going to break up. We're not
Yeah.
leaving each
100%.
other.
Yeah, you don't want to become
I'm not
rivals
freaking
over
leaving.
something for sure. Yeah. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think, so like, agreed. I think the way that, again, I've navigated is through communication and really also trying to be willing to not only hear her out, but willing to put forward effort as well. Like, I've definitely tried to put in my fair effort, like saying, hey, babe, like, you want to go to Colorado? I want to stay here. I feel drawn to stay here. I really want to stay here, but I'm going to at least put in effort so that I'm not just saying, hey, I think this is what the Lord's telling me, and it could be, like, in your famous
Yeah.
words, indigestion.
Yeah.
It's not maybe, I think the Lord's telling me not to go. It's just indigestion.
Yeah, that's a bad milk last night.
Yeah, dude. I
Yeah.
think what I'm going to do is open myself up to receive whatever God has for me. Like, I'm listening, but I'm also not just making up the words for him.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the questions I had written down. It's like, when you pray, are you praying for your will or the Lord's will? You know what I'm saying? It was a question I asked myself, but it's one of the things I have to think about, where it's like, I don't want to sit here and pray all day long and I'm really just answering myself. I really try
No,
not to do
that's
that.
a really
So,
good point. We say that a lot theologically. We say those are what we call motivation questions. So we
Yeah.
say, hey, one of the things that you're trying to uncover in your prayer life is, what is my motivation here, God?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it fear? I'm afraid to leave.
Yeah.
Is it fear that I don't want to walk through the open door, or
Mhm.
or do I really hear you and
Mhm.
assess
Yeah.
through all the opportunities that you've
Right.
placed before me here that I
Right.
should be here?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm
Exactly.
getting fed. My family is
Yep.
doing well. I'm growing, you know,
Yep.
and I should continue in this path until he
100%.
releases me from it. You know?
Exactly that. And I think I had that written down too. I guess I wrote down a bunch of stuff, but it's I put it in the form of, what is my origin, what is my purpose, where am I going? Right? You got to ask those questions, and I do that because what I was trying to get to is that, so I didn't want to just make up answers for myself and say the first thing that looks pretty. That's why I kind of said that earlier. Like, although it looks pretty, I don't want to just jump at the first thing every single time, because what you find out is that if you jump at the first opportunity every time, you can be misled. And so what I'd much rather
Yeah.
do is open myself up to opportunity and also put in the effort, right? So I'm going to put in footwork, as in form of, my wife wants to go to Colorado. There's an opportunity for us to go to Colorado. So I'm going to make every effort to make that happen. And if it doesn't fall through, then I don't think that God's leading us that way.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to try to read the words, the Lord's lips, rather than just try to make up what the Lord's saying. So
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So yeah, I've definitely just tried to, that's how I've been navigating it.
Yeah, I like
And-
that. So you're basically saying, I'm gonna put words in your mouth. You tell me if this is what you mean.
Yeah, let's
like
go.
I hear you saying, like, I don't immediately just say automatically it's a no.
Yeah.
I actually explore it because
100%.
I'm listening to my wife. I'm listening to what
Love
she
her.
says. I care about her heart.
Yep.
She wants this. I open that door to see if that door is really truly open.
Yep.
And if the things don't fall into place, I start to say, okay, well, maybe this is God
100%.
saying, okay,
Yeah.
this is not an open door.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
That's exactly.
don't need to
Exactly.
force it. Don't need
Yeah.
to force it.
Yeah, dude. Nothing forced is ever good. That's always been the case. Oh, I learned that real early and real.
Yeah, same reaction.
Explain. What are you forcing on a regular? Let's talk about it.
I don't know about a regular either, but
No, hold on. Hold on. What you?
No, keep going. You're good.
No. I got a small brain. I got a small brain, dude. I can't focus on two things at once. You got.
Whoa.
I'm sidetracked right now. What are we forcing?
I think there's a time for that.
Well,
okay. Listen. No, but I mean, that's pretty much it, dude. I think that, the way I've been handling it and navigating it is truly just not only praying about it, which I think is maximum importance, communicating about it, which I think is maximum importance, but also opening myself and being willing to receive and in a position to receive, because if I was consumed with myself, like I know I had been in the past before I really truly started trying to pursue and follow Christ, it wouldn't have been the same results that I'm getting right now. And so I've just been.
I think one thing that
Yeah.
we probably don't have time to go too much further, but
Yeah, for
one more thing on this.
Yeah.
I find, and I'm going to try to put this into words. You tell me if you can understand this. I find that young guys, especially Christian guys,
Yeah.
Sometimes they have trouble. And this is not going to go over well with
Let's do
the
it.
ladies that listen to this too. But I think sometimes
go.
they have trouble leaning in to like a leader role. Like, look, okay, so take for example, like this decision or any decision, right, in a marriage.
Okay.
There's going to be at some point in a marriage
Mhm.
where the couple is on different pages.
Yeah,
For something.
like
Whether it's a parenting
recently,
issue,
yep.
financial issue,
Mhm.
moving issue,
Mhm.
housing issue. There's going to be something at some point where it's just like, no, I don't, and
Yep. Preach past him.
and at some point, we talk a lot about the guys about
Yeah.
like it's not easy to say, hey, listen, I'm going to say something out loud that not might be popular, but it's not
Let's
easy
go.
to say, hey, listen, I'm not saying this to run roughshod. I'm not saying this to just say that your opinion doesn't count. I'm saying that we're on two different pages.
Yeah.
We have a family. It's my job to, like, at some level, right? It's my job to help guide and lead in tough situations, make some sacrificial decisions here. And I'm really feeling strongly about this, so I need you just to trust me
100%.
and walk with me in this.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? Because that is the toughest thing you'll ever do in a marriage.
I think that's really accurate. And I think that, exactly like you said, we have two different jobs.
Yeah.
And I'm actually very thankful that my wife she's somebody who is extremely understanding, super, I don't want to say open-minded in a bad way, but in the best way possible. She's super open-minded. She's willing to understand and hear out everyone's point of view. She's like, okay, let me hear it. I want to understand it. She doesn't really just close herself off and say, hey, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get frustrated and it's going to be the end all be all. She's
Yeah.
more like, okay, let me hear out. Like she even asked me the other day, for example, she asked me, hey, like, where are you at? We're on she said it out loud. We're on two separate pages. I want to know where you're going, what you're talking about, what you want to do, explain to me. And so that was really rewarding. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd also say, like, obviously it's speaking and being clear whenever a big decision comes
Mm-hmm.
becomes easier when you are consistently doing that with smaller stuff as well, and you're displaying leadership on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
It's a lot less abrasive for someone
If
to
you wait
receive
for
that.
just the one big decision
Exactly.
and be like, okay, I'm putting my foot down.
100%. Because
Yeah.
because then at
That's
that point, who
accurate.
are you, right?
Yeah.
That's
Are you
accurate.
the leader of this house?
Right.
Because you weren't last month and you weren't the year before that.
Yeah,
You've been
and all
phoning
of a
it in.
sudden,
You've been phoning it in for weeks
Exactly.
or months. And I would say the other thing that you're
I like
you're insinuating, but let's follow through with the idea, is that if your wife sees that not only are you willing to do the hard things with the little things,
Mm.
but be godly about it. Be
Mhm.
prayerful about it.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, this is a guy. He's not perfect. And he's not got the prayer life of like Martin Luther, but this guy's trying to seek the Lord, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
trying to do the little things right
right.
and follow through here a little bit. And it's a lot easier for them, I think for the ladies at some point, and I'll let the ladies speak to it, but give a little grace
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
a tough decision
Oh,
to be
yeah.
like, okay, let me give a little grace here.
Man, you keep things Christ-centered and things just smooth over so much more.
Okay.
So much more than if we force it.
Yeah.
Hey, Hey, I still want to know what the heck y'all are talking about. I'm not forcing anything, dude. Everything I forced didn't go well, dude. Everything.
Find out next week.
Yeah.
All right, that's as far as we can go for today.
Let's go.
Love you, mean it. Talk
Love
to you
you.
guys again. Thank you so much.
God bless.
All right. Good job, guys. Well done.